Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's class where we will deep dive into one of Python popularly used library. We discussed NumPy last week, and today we will be deep diving into Pandas. Okay, so let's go and see where time will enable us reach today. So first of all, I will have to throw a very broad and detailed overview of pandas is, why we need it, what we use it for, its applications, and all of that. So pandas is a Python library which is used for data manipulation and analysis. And for that, pandas provide a very confident way to analyze and clean data. So the pandas library introduces two new data structures to Python, which of course is the series and the data frame. So both of them is interested to know that they are built on top of Python. So here comes the most important question: why use pandas? Okay, so why pandas?
So is it pandas or panda?
Pandas.
Okay.
All right. So it is a general, like a powerful library generally used for data cleaning, data transformation, data analysis, machine learning, which that is part that concerns us, and data visualization. So that is some of the areas it is used on. And some of the reasons why we should use pandas include. Now, before then, we talked about that NumPy is built whereby it optimizes and is efficient for numerical computing. All right, but in pandas, I think before then I should even set a very clear differences between them so that you will not be confused with the two. All right. So NumPy is designed for numerical computations. We did a whole of NumPy throughout last week. So it's designed for numerical computation using multi-dimensional arrays. When we talked about last week, example of that is the ND array. All right. So it's core for extremely fast numerical computations, all right, numerical operations. Why is it that fast? Because it is built on a C base, which is the low-level programming language. So due to its C base implementation, right, it's extremely fast as opposed to Python list. So for that, it is best for numerical calculations, linear algebra, statistics, and efficient storage and computation. All right, so that is that for NumPy. So let's see the difference in of that when it comes to pandas. So the purpose of pandas is built for data analysis and manipulations using labeled data. We see that, take note of that, labeled data, where we talk about series and data frames. All right. So it uses label data structure, and core data structures are the serials, which is a 1D label array, and the data frame, which is 2D label or we can call it tabular structure. That is, it represents data in a tabular form. So it is best for handling structured data like tables. I'm talking about pandas now, like tables. All right, your CSV files, Excel, and all of that. So also Pandas is best used for data cleaning, transformation, and exploration. So it's mixed data type, example, numerical, categorical plus text. You see that, don't be scared. Your nerve should not rise. Okay, so if I want to do that in a very tabular form, let's say numpy, and then I should do this pandas, and that's all right. So its focus on numpy is its numerical computation. All right. And for pandas, under this, we have it for data manipulation and analysis. Is that the spelling? Yes. Then again, then the data type for this numpy, which is supports, like its main structure is the nd array. So this is the data structure, like the main structure in numpy. And over here in pandas, we have data frames, like I mentioned before, data frames, and word series. I mentioned that before now, data frames and series. Now we talked about that it's for numpy, it supports, of which we look at that last week, that it supports homogeneous, which is same data type, not as list in Python that could handle what is it called, your strings, your integer, your floats, and all of that in a sense. Okay, but homogeneous, let me not forget. Homogeneous, okay, which is same data type, or same type, however you want to call it. But over here, it supports heterogeneous data, that is different types per column, right? Think we tried to do and discuss about that, where you could have your strings in one column, your integers, and all of that. So it supports different types per column, right? So column wise. So it's easy to use. Like for the numpy, it requires small setup, but as we see in pandas, it's very user friendly with levels and all of that. So in practical, use numpy when you are working on raw scientific computing tasks or large scale matrix operations, while you can use pandas when working with, when the aim of what you want is when you are working with a tabular or mixed data, like your spreadsheets, your SQLs, or CSV files. So that was just a general overview on the differences between NumPy and Pandas, what they do, and all of that. So our main focus on this on today's class is on Pandas, and we'll see that. Okay, so I think, yeah, we're on why Pandas, all right? So one of them is that it handles large data efficiently, and you see that. So Pandas is designed for handling large data sets, which it provides powerful tools that simplify tasks like data filtering, transforming, merging, cleaning, ranking. You see that. And it also provides built-in functions to work with. I mention of that, like your your CSV, your JSON, TXT. We did some of it last week. Excel, some of you are familiar with it. But if not, you see in the course of the training. And just to add SQL, which of course in this case is the database. So another use for, or just to answer why Pandas, where it's used on, is that it helps to represent data in a tabular form. So of course, these data types help us, this particular data type help us handle that. So Pandas data frames, which is the primary data structure of Pandas, handle data in a tabular form. So this allows easy indexing, selecting, replacing, slicing, and all of that you want to do with your data. So next is cleaning, or better still, you could call it data cleaning and pre-processing. If you're not getting it now, as you get to experiment it, you will see. So just listen and see what you can get from the general overview. So when we get to experiment it will help you understand better. So another use is data cleaning and pre-processing. So under this, data cleaning and pre-processing are essential steps in data analysis and while working with data. Okay, so Pandas provide powerful tools to facilitate these tasks, and it has method for handling, which includes maybe it has some method that helps handle your missing value. Maybe you want to remove or duplicate the data normalization and all of that. And Pandas contains an extensive set of tools for working with data. Some of them you get to see, you will see your time index. I'm sorry, my system just asked. And initially developed for financial modeling. You get to see all of this. Why is it there? Let me just leave it. Financial modeling. I'm writing all of this so it will help when I'm explaining. I will not forget. Financial modeling. All right, and above all, Pandas follows the same principle as Python, which is what I'm trying to say. It's open source and free to use, so allowing you to use um, for free, even for commercial use. So with this, you can go to the Pandas because it's try to check it. If you have, you can even spot errors and make a request, a pull request, see what you can correct and all of that. Okay, so enough of talking. And if you want to use your system, okay, you make sure that you must first of all have Python installed. Then from that, you have pip install. We talked about this last week in your system. So if you have Python and pip installed already, you can also install Pandas by using this line of code pip. Of course, it is a Python actually it is a Python package, so you have to use pip to install. So pip install Pandas. All right. But for the sake of the class, I want to make things easy for you. You can use your Google Colab. okay, which has some of these things inbuilt. Okay, we used this for an NumPy last week, and we get to see this. So I will try and be a bit slow here, but after the first example, I will want to go the normal way a bit fast. Okay, so your first line of code, just to invoke it to your working environment, you need to import pandas. Right? So you can stop here, but maybe you want to follow the common convention among other programmers, which I could call it the conventional best practice. So you could say import pandas as PD pandas. Okay, so this line of code, what it does that it imports pandas library into our program, and I'm using this alias as PD. Let me do like this, PD as alias as 1L, I suppose. Alias, okay. So, and I'm using this. So this will help you save some typing time, which each of the time you want to type pandas. But if you use PD, you can access this library. Now, after this import statement, we can use pandas function and object by calling them PD. Okay, just like what we did. So, example, you could have maybe PD dot data frame and all of that. So you see when we get to it. And just a quick note here, if we import pandas without this PD, okay, you could use, you have to all the time invoke this library using the pandas keyword, pandas, and your docs notation to access it. We talked a lot about this last week. So you get to know the differences now. If you don't import it as this and using this alias, you have to be working with this directly. Any question for that? Because going on, I'll be a bit fast. Okay, so I believe we're on the same page. And let's look at this data type, which is very important. As you clear this, we are done. We will not confuse the series. So a Panda series is one-dimensional. I talked about it, and data frame is for two-dimensional. So get the differences. So a Python series is one-dimensional label array-like objects. Get that label array-like objects. Of course, when I mention array, your mind should take you to what array is. We talked about array a whole lot last week. If you're not there, you can watch the recording. That can hold data of any type. Okay, when I was trying to differentiate between pandas and NumPy, I told you that the data type it supports its heterogeneous, which it supports different data type a column. Take note of that. So Panda series can be thought of as a column in a spreadsheet or a single column of data frame, which consists of maybe two main components. Example of it, let's get our notepad. So you could thought of it as something like this, maybe 0, 1, 0, and you could set it to maybe John, then 1, maybe 30, 3, maybe you could use our boolean, something like false. And if you check this data type, it will be kind of objects. So that is why I say that a Panda series is one-dimensional label array-like objects. okay, that can hold data of any type. So if you look at what we are doing here, the series has two columns, and one of it is 0, 1, 2, or 0, 1, 3. And the data is John, and maybe 30, false. You could have another thing or someone name and all of that. So the label are the index value assigned to each data point. These labels are assigned to each data point. So while the data represents the actual value stored in the series. Please note that Pandas series can store different data type. I want to emphasize this so that when we start experimenting them, you not get to like, why is this one here? Why is this here? Okay, so it supports different data types. It's use a concept called D type. If you use your D type, we talked about D type last week. It will show you the data type that you are using. So take note of the array like what objects data. Okay. So by default, Pandas internally represents the series of different data types using objects. I still want to emphasize that. Now, a general purpose data type that can hold any text or numeric data type. So now this object now can hold a text, numeric, strings, and all of that. So when we mean what's array-like object data type, so it can take care of your strings, your integer, your bool, and all of that. Okay, so enough of talking. Let's get to experiment it for better visualization. So let's get a Pandas series. There are multiple ways of getting a Pandas series. So we will see one of them, which is the most common way. So by using a Python list. So having used this line of which I talk extensively about it, you can say you can create a list first. Create a list, all right? And maybe you could assign it to, let's say, data, since you're working with data. Where am I? Data. And of course, you know how to create a list. We've been working on it. If you've forgotten, you can watch the recording. Maybe a list of any random number, 40, 20, maybe 50, anything at all. And after that, I want to be detailed in this first one, subsequently of the first. So after creating a list, you are used to this, you create a list. Now let's create a Pandas series from this list. So I could say create a series from the list, which of course in our own case is what data, right? So I could call it series or my series, my series, okay, anything equals to dd dot series. So what am I using to create the series, this data? So I'll pass it here, data. All right. Okay, so let's print it out and see what we have. Print. Print. What are we printing? Of course, we want to print my series. My series. Okay, so all things being equal, without any error, it should give us. Okay, you see this, what I was trying to illustrate here. So if you use your D type, okay, you have whatever data type you have, and based on your system architecture in array-like object implementation. Okay, so let's go and see what we have. Okay, so this is it in a column, all right, and each is assigned to a value. Okay, and our data type is what? Data type is in 64. So now from this, from what we have, from what I did here, let me use this and explain better. So here, this series is showing us a two column labeled 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and data. Our data in this case is 10 from what we have here. From what we have here, 30 and all of that. So this label now are the index value assigned to each data point. Okay, so while the data represents the actual data value stored in the series. Okay, so we first of all created a list, and from the list we create a series out of it. Okay, so now the data now is representing the actual series. Remember in your Python, when you wanted to work with tuple, you first of all convert a list to a tuple and work with it. Of course, there are different ways of creating Python series, but I wanted to link you back to what we did a few weeks later, which I told you that we'll be building from the foundation, from the basics that we'll be working on. So relating it to the series that you are conversant with, I think this should make more sense in the understanding what I'm trying to do. So now this, okay, the last thing I did not talk about. Now this data type now denotes the series stored, and the value of what I'm doing is in 64. So the type is in 64. We've been working with this method a lot last week. If you're not there, you can watch the recordings. And just to add, you could visualize it here. My series has 5 data, 0. How did I take it back? 0. It's passing 0 to 10, 1 to 30, like what we have here, 2 to 40, 3 to 20, and 4 to 50. And the data type is of in 64. Okay, so what again about it? Let's see the shape. The shape is telling us that it's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what data type are we handling? We see series. Of course, we're talking about series now, and this is our series name, my series. So, any question with that? Okay, so just to add from here to make it make sense more. So the label in Pandas series, right, are index number by default. You could see this. We do not have these parts in our working, but it's provided us with this. So it's now these series are index number by default. So now, where is this coming from? So the label in Pandas series are index number by default. So like in data frames, of course, we look at that, and array, we'll be looking at array since we started last week. The index number in this series starts from 0 to where we get. You can relate index to the indexing that we've been doing since. So such label can be used to access a specific value. So let's go ahead and access a specific value from our series. We've been doing that, but let me just do it here in regards to what. So instead of just printing series here, okay, I want to access a series at index maybe 3. Okay, so if I save and run that, 0, 1, 2, 3, 20. All right. So here I access the fourth element, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth element, which by indexing it is the third element, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I can also specify label while creating the series using index arguments in the serial index arguments. I told you there are a lot of ways to do this, so we are exploring some of them. So by default, we've been doing this, but let's see another way. Let me take this out. Take this out. So this is our data, our list we created. And from this list now, I'm going to use the index keyword, okay, the index keyword or argument, all right, in this series. So data, I'll add a comma and then index, okay, was already provided index here, and you want to provide it with a specific index, okay? So yeah, let me even do something unique here you've not seen before, and let's see. Okay, outside that, by default we saw this 0, 1, 2, 3. If you don't assign anything to it, by default it will start from 0 and count now. But let me manually assign it what a specified label instead of taking the default one. So say maybe A. Let me use capital letter to even make it more broad. A, come out of it, add comma, and what's B and C. Okay, so if I save, let me check Zen area no, create my series, standard the series data index processes. Okay, so all things being equal, it should run. Okay, so this line is giving me, let's see what we've done there. My serial speed, it prints my series. Great a series valid error. Okay, so let's go over it again and see what the error is. Data and assign it to 1, 2, 3, 4. I create my serials, ed the serials. I use data and index it to ABX and sorry, I didn't even know I lost you. I was still talking. Okay, where did you lost me, please?
Hey, we're trying to find out trying to sort out the error message.
Okay, yeah. Yes. And I tried to change the variable name, and that reminded me of the error we had in one of our quiz question last time when I had to change the variable name and it worked. Did you remember something like that? I think the variable name I gave was 2_d and 3d when we were working with 3d and 2d in the array. Do you remember something like that?
Yes.
Okay, so that was, if you could check one of our conditions or requirements of creating a variable, it shouldn't start with a number. I don't know if you still know, it shouldn't start with a number, but I don't know, for some reasons, I started with a number and it's flat us. Okay, so I just remember that's why trying to troubleshoot this. Okay, so let's go over it again. Import Pandas as PD. And let me try and make some changes, maybe 1, 2, 3. Then I create a series of specified label. Okay, so this say my series. I just stop this is not a reserved by so PD that series. Okay, so let me do something here. For shorts and PD dot series. Instead of data, I replace it with A. Right. A the index and assign it to this. Then I print my this. Okay, so let's see now. It has reported a list of 3 items, and why the error? Let's see. Create a series PD index. A is not defined. Where is yes?
Why are we not using X? Why are we using A?
Yeah. Okay, so this work. So if you have error like that, just try and troubleshoot to see that works. So you could see that you could assign, like manually assign some specified label, okay, to a series. But why did that other one why did it not work? Let's go back and see. From this we've gotten the gist. So I think it was 10, let's say 20. Let's go back and check why it did not work. 30, 30, and 40. Right? I think we call it data. Could it be that data is saved? Okay, so let's still maintain X. Data works the other times we should have data. And instead of here, we replace it with data. Then
but this give an error now.
Yeah, what is it?
This give an error now. Okay, run it.
Yes, I'm trying to see what works. So if it's flags or if it was an error, this should be a reserved. Okay. Have you seen that? So that means data is reserved. So you take note of that. So we could give it another variable name, maybe A and A. Okay.
But when you created the list, the first one you did, it ran now. When you created the Panda list with data, okay, we did not.
I'm using a label, like I'm trying to manually specify a label to our series. Okay, this is even beautiful. Let's go over it again. It works, and I change it again, and it will not work. Okay, so great list. This is my list that I've created. Then over here, I'm trying to create a series from this list, ed.series, and this is my series name. Then index it to this, and I print index. Okay, let me say something. I use X the other time and it will work. No, it's fun doing this. Okay. Okay. So if length of data, length of index, one, oh, beautiful, beautiful. I get it. And you did not even draw my attention to this. So even the last one could have worked. Have you seen anything with me here?
Yes.
We have how many elements? I think 1,
Four.
2, 3, 4. But we are
I want you to
assigning
print three.
it to how many?
Three.
Yeah. So yeah, so always watch the screen. Could work on this. I have a lot of things in mind, so I don't forget. Most time I watch. So to solve this, we could just add another one. Is either you delete one, from here, or you add another one to take care of that ABCD. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So even with the data, it will still work. All right, it will still work. So with that, if I save, everything works. So even if I change it to 40, I change it to 30, and I change it to 0, and I change it to, okay, so with this, even if I change it to data, and I change it to data, it will still work, because this complements this now. And so always take note of that. So just to run quickly what I did here in this example, I passed this index of A, B, C. It could be anything, it could be X, Y, Z, or S, or H, or whatever you choose to use it, but let it complement with the numbers of data you're having there. So I use this index as an argument to this series, okay, to specify the level. So I'm trying to specify it explicitly. All right. Now I can even access this. I can even access a series of elements, either one or two, depending on my choice, what I want. So I could use numbers like 1, 2, 3, or B, C, D. So let's, okay, I could add, let's say, what index should we access? I would give it maybe B, and B is what? A string. So don't forget, before it throws an error at you. B, let's access this B. So let me add a comment here and say display value with label B. Okay, so let's save and run that. What is level B? 20. You're seeing that. So any question? Okay, so we did this using a list. So we need to relate what we are doing currently to what we've been doing previously. So of course, we can also create a Pandas series using Python dictionary. So just implemented this using a Python list. Let's see it's using a Python dictionary. And for this, we use square brackets. Can someone quickly tell me, for dictionary, what do we use? quickly now. You should not think on this one.
Curly braces.
Braces.
Beautiful curly braces. So I could say, okay, let's use people on the call. Glory. And let me pass age of 20 to Glory. And again, Sandra, let me pass age of 23 to Sandra. And then who is here? I think I saw Promise. 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 Hey, see me with someone's name. I think it's double S. Is that the spelling? Promise. Sorry if I murdered your name. I have issues with spelling sometimes. Okay, so
There's no comma after Sandra.
oh, beautiful. Thank you. We should be doing that. At least it save me from troubleshooting. Promise. And let me pass the age of 30 to Promise. Okay. I can even make this float because let me use a stone and key to bed. Right. Maybe if Sandra is 23 and a half years, 23, 5 is half, and Glory is 20 and a half. Yes, okay. So this is me using a dictionary to create a pandas series. Okay, so for that, okay, this line has already taken care of that and that series. But what do I do here? I'll take all of this out and leave it with only data. You have to be keen in watching the screen. Might make errors. You are confident with the syntax now. You just call my attention to it. So display the value. Okay, so instead of that, I will just take this out and display what I'm creating a series. So let's display my series. Okay, and I'll take this out to our full view. Okay, so let's look at what I'm doing here. You already know what this line does. I'm trying to import pandas and forget to my working environment. So I create a list of serial name, data, and the data type I'm using is float. Can use integer, but I need to just implement that as well. So I'm using this with a dictionary name data or the student's data, anything to be more precise. Okay, data is okay. And notice this key value pair. So from this, I create a series from this dictionary called data, and then again I display my series. So let's run and we see output. Okay, so we have in an error there. Let's see what we have. My series PD data and series. Okay, so can you look at the screen and tell me the error I'm having here? I will not do that myself because this is dictionary and
the braces.
Is this strings. It should be Glory. This integer and float has no strings, so it's just a value assigned to this. That's why I say you should be watching my screen. I didn't even need to look at the error message. When I went to troubleshoot from the first line, I saw that. Okay. And I take this off. And of course, you could see it's green now. Everything is okay. So let's see now. We should have it. So Glory to this, Sandra assigned to this, Promise, he assigned Promise to that time. Of course, the data type is float. Any question? Okay, so the same thing we did for what's it called? The same thing we did for list, where we could how should I put it, manually specify dictionary item using the index argument. We can do it here. All right, so let me leave that to help those who will check it out in GitHub. So I could say this time around, maybe grades, and I will assign grades to a dictionary of this. Let me use this modified. So in this, our grades, Glory as 85, Sandra as 67, Promise as let's say 90. All right, so PD dot this, but before then, let me manually select specific dictionary item using the index arguments, Is there there's no arguments. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this line, say index underscore arg. Okay, and I'll assign it to PD dot serial First, you call your variable, like your dictionary. In our case, it's grades. Watch the screen in case of. After that, I use the index arguments. Okay, so I want it to provide me with label of what glory and who, and label of promise. Label of promise was a capital letter. I hope it was a capital P, so it won't give you the error. Glory promise. And then again, I'll display what's the series SE. I'll display the series. So let's check with me in case you spot any typo. Glory dictionary, specify this index epidacy, grades index, we set it to glory, and PD dot grades. You see, I just noticed there's an error here, and you guys did not call my attention to it. So instead of grades, we have what's index in the okay, I do not have X index or R. Okay, so let's do it. This okay, it should along with that error now. Okay, no error but no output. Why? What did I not add? Are you people with me? This should be active. Oh yeah, the brain statement.
Yes, they're with you.
So what am I printing?
My series.
Let's read this particular line. I'll come back to you. Is it necessary? This line, is it necessary? Does it have any function in what we're doing? Any functionality? Ah, my wonderful people. Okay. It has nothing to do with what we are doing, please. So I specifically needed it to list out some item in this dictionary using the index argument, and I passed glory and promise to it. So this line display the series, and we have glory 35, Sandra, okay, promise 90, and it's gave us the data type of int 64. You people are not responding to my questions. Is there any point you don't understand or you want me to go over it again? The class is so done.
No, I understand.
And now, so people should respond when I ask questions, and you should be with me when I'm writing the code, like line by line. In case you spot any typo, you click on it. So not when I have it and I have to go and start troubleshooting alone when I'm here to call people. Okay, so that is it for the serious data type in Pandas. Let's go over to data frames to even do some interesting things. Data frames. And of course, a data frame in Python is like a table where the data is organized in row and column. This one was what? A 1D. Someone should complete it. My people are sleeping. 1D, 1D dimensional, they call it. And this one is what? 2D dimensional arrays. Okay. And I used to have them here, something like this. So let me the data and it starts from what? 1. You don't need to add this from 0, rather you don't need to add it by default, except you specifically like manually specify what you want instead. So by default you should take this 0, maybe for the 2D. I'm trying to work on that. Maybe let's take in what should I take? Okay, so country, and if we have country, we should have capital for it, right? Capital, and just to bring your numeric computing. If you have country, you have capital, you should have something like, is it population? Yeah, population. Population. Everything is spelling this. Okay, so this 0 should be out and it should be here. And for that, let's start with our beautiful country. Amazing one, Nigeria. Capital of Nigeria is what? People should tell me this one now. And the population, oh God, I don't know the population. I don't know currently, I don't know we are in this country. Canada, the head of Canada. I should not cast myself in this meeting. Dots, dot, dots. And the population is whatever. I'm trying to illustrate something now. And what again? Now I know I'm not that dumb. I just remember the capital of Canada is Ottawa, I think. Ottawa.
Ontario.
Is that how they pronounce it?
Ontario.
Ontario. Is it Ontario? Is Ottawa?
Yes, it's Ontario. Ontario.
Okay, it is what it is then. This was here, right? Whatever. Their population is Ontarian. Sorry, at least I tried. And UK. Then their capital is London. And their population, I don't know now. Okay, so this is just a clear illustration of what I'm doing. Okay, so this is what we expect to see from data frames. I did that from series, all right? So here I have countries, I have capital and their population. And these are for what? Is it columns and rows? People should tell me. These are country, capital, and population. So they are columns. Don't forget now. So these are columns name for each. And for each row, we have a record with the index value on the left. So the index value are auto-assigned starting from 0. Okay. By default, we talked about that. And each contains data of the same type. For instance, we have country, we have capital, which are strings, and population contains what's integer. So for each column, it contains data of the same type. You see this integer, capitals, they're all strings, country, they're all strings. And the data is they are all integer by default. So the data frame is similar to a table. Example of it is, okay, let me not bring data sets now, so you're not start scratching your head what is data sets. But if you know of data sets, if you know of your data set, example is SQL and all of that. So it's represented in a table, like in a tabular form or a spreadsheet. Of course, it is designed to manage order and we get to see that. Okay, so how do we create a pandas data frame? So first, you can create a pandas data set in a lot of ways, but first is using Python dictionary. You can use a Python list using a Python list, and you can use like maybe from a file, right? From a file, and maybe you can create an empty. Oh God, is that the spelling of? What is wrong with me with spellings? MC data frames. Data frames. Okay, so we get to see how to implement each of these. I'll get my text cell and call it data pandas data frames. Okay, so now gets good. So okay, so let's work from this import statement. We still maintain this now, but if you want to start a new one, make sure you hit your import statement so it won't throw an error out here. So let's first of all create a Python dig. Python dictionary, and I could say names. Please follow me with your screen to see what I'm doing. Just in case I get into typo, you call my attention to this name. We have Glory. We have Sandra. I just did that to see nobody said something. So I'm alone here. I need to be careful. And who again? Promise. Maybe I'll be intentionally putting errors so that you'll be the one to tell me since you are not following. Okay, so let's go for the next one. This is for name, and I will say age should be for age. And that I will pick up a list of age and how old is Glory. We had 21 for Glory previously. I think we had 30 for Sandra, and Promise was 90. Let's still pick that. And where are you from? Let me just add city or country.
Promise was not 90.
But I gave her
Sandra was
90.
20. Sandra was 23. Promise 30.
I just increase your age. You should be happy.
It's too far now. 90. Go.
She is our granny here. Okay. So where is Glory from? Glory is from Uyo. Sandra is from Ekits.
No quotation.
Ekits. And Promise is from Arab. Promise, don't stone me. Promise is from.
I'm not finishing anything. I'm just looking at all the things that you're doing to me.
Okay, so that is it. I hope no typo. All right, so where am I? Let me tell you what I'm doing. Let's create a data frame now. Create a data frame from our dictionary. And our dictionary, we call it what? Dig. All right. So I could call it data frame. Let me use, this thing has already given me a very descriptive variable name, df for data frame. PD dots. I don't need this. Okay. Dig display data frame PD. Any error from here? Name, list of names. Sandra, does it match? Yeah, it's matched. 21 to Glory, 30 to Sandra, 90 to you, Glory. If it's okay, so it should run with that error. See this name, age, city, and by default, it starts from 0, 1, 2, from what I did here. Okay, so relate the illustration we add here to our results here. Any question from there? So what I do is, so this language does that it converts a Python dictionary to a data frame. Of course, if I should before them, if I should print it for you to see, like to print this dictionary, you get to see the difference. Dictionary, then I save and run it. Okay, so you see your normal dictionary representation, right? How it is. But at this other line, I converted it to what a data frame, and you see how the representation looks in a row and column, making it readable and actually it's more visible. Okay, so we've done this using Python dictionary. Let's try it using a list, creating a what's pandas data frame. You could say creating or converting anyhow data frame from a Python list. Okay, or you could say converting a Python list to a pandas data frame. Okay, so let's see. I'll bold it. It's good. So okay, so let me still use this line. In your own case, if you want to get a new one, you can put it. But let me build from that. Okay, so I could say py list for py list py list. Okay, so let me just work. It will save us glory 21, you Sandra. Okay, so let's work this. What next is creates a data frame from our list, which is what py list py underscore list. All right. So how do we do that? Okay, can I pick this? Let me see. It's for XPD. Okay. So what this line does is that before I even display it. So in this example, I create a two-dimensional list. You can see called what py list that contain a nested list. This is the first list, and the rest are nested. Okay, so from this other line is that this pd.dataFrame is a function that converts these two the list into a data frame. So each nested list behaves as a row of data in the data frame. Each nested list behaves as a row. You get to see it. And the column arguments provide a name to each row of the data. Okay, so did we print it? Oh yeah, we print it. This will display. Okay, so like I said, that this line converts the two list into data frame with each of these nested lists, behaving like a row of data in data frame, and the column, okay, provides what a name to each column of the data. Now, each of these Python list behave as the row, and this column, like, okay, so I pick out what was not there. The name, the age, and the city. Name, age, and city. So now this column that I'm passing, name, you go for like the column, each of this column name, like name, and here it should be for the age and for the city. So please, this slide is very important. This file is now you save as what row, and this column arguments now that are passing to save what as a column to this. So by default, we have this. You know why we have this? By default, we set it, except we manually specify the level. So, and this is it. Have you seen how it's make it more readable? But if I should print our normal list, you'll see how it is. So we are going somewhere. Print what's by list by underscore by list. Just watch the output and see how it looks like. Then you judge it. You be the judge and choose the one you like. So with this display now, which one would you go for? Which one is more readable and organized?
DataFrame.
All right. So you see that we are going somewhere. Now, there is a one I'm going to explain, but we will not implement it today based on, I did not, or how should I say, provide the file. So I will talk about it, but we will not implement it. So that will be next class where I get to do that. So I think, let's see from our notes. Okay, so we'll create using a Python list in a Python dictionary. Now, it's this one. I'll try to explain it, but we implement it next class. All right, where is my, okay. So sometimes we may want to create create a data frame from a file. Okay. So this is by first of all, you load your data, your file source, maybe in this format that I've talked about. Did I erase it? Okay. So any of these formats, you load the file. Okay. So what data frame will do for you is that it will help organize the file in this way. It will help organize the file, the contents of the file in this way for easy readability and make it more organized. Okay. So what you do, let me use this. You can always use your import statement. Of course, you load your file, you read it, and then again you display it out. So a simple example of it is the popular used one is this CSV file, this one. And we have a lot of them, your JSON notation, your text, your SQL, and your words, your SQL. Yeah, I wanted to talk about one which in form of a database. So we can also create data frame using files, other file formats like this outside your Python list and your listing. Okay, so we take note of that. We'll work extensively on this next class. But let's go over to the next one, which is creating from what? Creating an MC data frame. It's not usually used more often, though, but let's just work on it so that you have a fair idea of what you want to do. So DF for data frames, and I'll call my pandas pd dots data frame. Okay, so I'll just call that And if I print this, this is an empty data frame. Okay, you see that the shape is 0, 0, and the value is empty data from here. See that it's empty data shape 0, 0, and so empty data frame of columns and index. Both the column and the index list are MC in this data frame. So it has no data, but it can be used as a container to store or manipulate data. Maybe later, or maybe you have what you want to store in its data. So you just create it in Kib. Any question? Okay, so in the absence of no question, let's talk about Pandas index. See that the process is getting even more interesting, where we do basic things and we are getting to where you can visualize things in different formats. So we talk about Pandas index. So in Pandas, an index refers to the label array that identifies row or column in a data frame or a series. So when I talk about data frame and series, you know that there are two data types in Pandas. So I'll talk about it often: data types and data frames and series. So for example, you can represent it this way: Pandas index. Okay, so it could have names 0. Then for the 0, it should be down. Then up, I have maybe name again, then age, city, and each index will automatically be filled with a label. So for names here, have glory, age 70, city, Uyo. Promise, age 18. Promise, are you happy now? City, Eket. Hope I'm still on the call. This I'm not hearing anybody. Okay. Am I audible? Are you still hearing me? All right, all right. And Sandra, age 60, and city Oron. Sandra, sorry. So these are the labels, and so in this above data frames, you could see the labels, the columns, and each of the columns maintained, please take notes, maintain same data type. Okay, names of string, age of integer, city of what strings. So this 0, 1, 2 represent the index, okay, which provides a unique label to each row. So if you want to access this now, you could say go to the name column at index 0. So from this, it could be name column index 0 and column 0. Okay, so if you access this, 0, 0 should give you glory, 0, 1 should give age of glory, which is 70, and 0, 0, 1, 2, 0, 2 should give the city of glory, which is Uyo. Someone just unmute. Any question?
No.
Okay, so how do we grade index in Pandas? So Pandas offers several ways to create indexes. So some of it are the default ways which we've just implemented. So the default index is this one. Next one is setting index, where you create it yourself. We did the other time. You be the one to manually specify it, and then you create a range of index. Okay, so for the default one, let's hit our working environment and get to see that. So I'm working on the import statement above, where we add. So we could say data equals to, should I use list or dictionary? Okay, let me use dictionary first. Names. And I pass a list to that. Names, we have Glory, Sandra, and Promise. All right. So age, an error, nobody called my attention to that. People should be observant, please. Just observe what is going on the age. And then again, I'll pass a list of age to that. And 20. Oh, Glory. Glory is not answering me. Let me give her 100. Sandra. That one is not even responding. So 100. Promise, I've not heard her. 300. And CC. CC. Okay. So city Uyo in quotes. Am I together? Oh, my network has not. All right. iPad is scaring me now. Why no one is responding? City Uyo. Eket and Aran. Thank you for that. So from here, I'll ed.dataframes converts this to data frames and displays. So if I run that, you can see out. This is for the default indexing. You see, by default, it automatically gives this their index. Glory, Sandra, Promise. I love that. Okay, so let's check this for setting index. So for this, we can set an existing column as an index using the set index column. Arguments rather, is it an argument? A method. So the set index method, you'll see it. So let me still use this, or let me say set or data first. So I'll self set when I want to write it. So let me still use what we have previously. And I will say df for data frames equals to pd dot data frame So what am I trying to do? I want to convert this Python dictionary to DataFrame first. Right? Okay, so that's good. And I will say df dot set to set the index now. Set index df dot set index name. Yes, replace all of them. And df displays. So in this example, what I did here is that the name column is used. This name that I'm using and adding the name column is set as the index, replacing default integer indexing. Okay, so I'm setting it to true in place. All right. And here the in place equals to true parameter performs the operation directly on the object itself. Okay, so without creating a new object. So when I specify this in place equals to true, the original object is modified and the changes are directly applied. Let's see. So instead of what's using 1, 2, 3, so I now use what's in place of the default one. All right.
Miss, can you take that again? I didn't really get it.
From here, okay, let me just go over everything. In this example now, this particular one we are doing, all right, the name column, where is its name, which replaces Glory, Sandra, and Promise, is set as index instead of us having 0, 1 as previously as you used to see. Okay, so instead we use the name. So it's replaced the default integer index like this one now. It replaces this one. Okay, and this in place now, this argument I'm using here, this in place equals to true. Like this parameter that I'm using here performs the operation directly from this object itself, what we are doing here. So now without creating a new object here, now what I'm trying to do is that when I specify this in place equals to true, the original object is modified and now the changes is applied here directly. So instead of having 0, 1 and all of these, I now tell it, okay, let's use the name. And Glory for name, if we have it 100, Sandra Promise, then it maintains without grading it maintains the city and the age. Is this a spelling of age? No one draw my attention. Age is not Aga. Okay, no worry. So that is that for it. And for the last one is using what's range. Did we talk about it? Okay. Using defaults, using settings, and using range. So let's talk about the range. Grading range or range index. Okay, so we can create a range index which specifies stats and in value using this argument method, using range index. Using this, we can create a range index which specifies stats and end value. Let's see how that is done. So first data goes to, let's still maintain what we used to serve at time. this line, you know what it does? Of course, it converts this Python dictionary to a data frame. And here, I want to create a range. I want to create a range index. So what am I using? I'm using this now. So df yes, so I will modify it to where I want mine to look. Df, what are we using? We use this data and the range for, let me see if it matches with my 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, so instead I want to use the range index. So index equals to the range index is outside of the applicates, and I could say maybe index 1 or 2, anything. Index 3, 5. I don't need this. So what this line does is that before then, it is a range of index. I'll start from 3, 3, 4, 5. So my start is 3 and my stop is 5. I will want to start from 1 and ends at 3. I will want to start from 5 and ends at 8. Anyhow you want it, but you must set your start and your stop. I could want to start from 2 and ends at 2, 3, 4 and ends at 4. But I just decide to start with 5 and ends at with 3 rather and ends at 8. So if I save and okay, so let's see, create a TP was the error. The length of value 3 does not match index of 2. Let's see, 0, 1, 2. 0, 1, 2. Okay, so let me use this one instead. 5, 8, and my stop is 8, 0, 1, 2. Okay. 3, okay. We start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 5, 6, and 7. All right, so this is a Python string dictionary. Of course, you know this line, you're familiar with it. It converts this dictionary to a data frame. And here I'm trying to create a range of index using the range index argument. So what are you trying to do? You set this variable data, what you have here, and then you call your range index. Then you set, of course, it has a start and a stop index. Someone just
Question.
joined to ask, yeah, you can go ahead.
How is
You don't have
the
to
index? How is the index? How did you get that 8? It's 5, 8.
Now, if my start is 5 from here, okay, you know that this from the start that the stop is always excluded. So it's going to be a range. When we talk of a range, the stop is always excluded, all right? So this is, it starts from the range of 5. Of course, the start is always included. Starts from the range of 5, 6, 7. So it's for you to map your range. So if it starts from 2, all right, so 2, here, 3, 4. So it should stop at 5. So if I start from 2, it should stop here at 5. Okay, so it's going to be 2, 3, 4 in the range of 2 to 5. Have you seen?
So why is it still displaying everything? Is it supposed to display everything? What's the essence of this index now? Because we are not
It's
seeing
that
any difference.
yeah, you are seeing any difference. It's just that you are not, how should I put it? Let me not say you're not conscious. Yeah, by default, it should start from 0.
Okay.
But I'm telling it to start from 2 in the range of 2 to 5.
Okay.
So this is, and mind you, we are talking about what's Pandas indexing. Maybe you forgot that you.
So it's
That
not going to affect the output of the record.
No. It's you trying to label it how you want. This is the level that this data is assigned or set to. So by default, it takes this one. Okay. But this is when we, have you forgotten this one where we use one of what do you say, what we have here and set it from here? We use the name clubhouse. And here is when we manually like set it using this method, this range index. And how many items we have here? 1, 2, 3. So it should be the range of this. So if you want to start with 3, it should be from 3 to 5, so that it will stop at 4. Remember that the end, all right, is not always included, but the start or the starter, if I should want to call it, is always included. So it starts from either 1, 2, 3, then your stop should be 4. If it starts from 1, your stop should be 4. Have you seen it now in this range? But I think I used 5 the other time. So 5, 6, 7. So my stop should be 8. Watch here. This is where you see the effects. 5, 6, 7. Okay. I think with the best of my ability, I've tried to do justice to that. Any other question from someone else? Okay, so we can modify, we can make changes to the Python and Pandas index. Like we can modify indexes in Python. So how could I call this subtopic now? Modifying index is plural in Pandas, right? Everything. So, sorry, again, Pandas allows us to make changes to indexes easily. We've seen some of them, but some other method of doing that is we can rename them and we can reset the index, and you see that you can either rename or we reset. Let's quickly see that. Oh, I should stop by 1, but let's quickly handle this. Let's use this instead. So later, let's still maintain with what we've been using. And of course, this slide converts this to DataFrame. So if I display my like original data frame, original data frame. Say prints in a new line, original data frame for visibility, and I'll call DF. You can do this, don't scratch your head, or you can just print DF. It's the same thing, but I needed to add original. Where's my G? Original. I need to just add this line to it, but it's still the same thing. If you print DF, it will still display this. Problem in no, that should be inside. Is either you use this new line, or let me use another way. I think I've not done that before, but let me implement it for you to see. Is either to use that new line, or you just print into this thing. Yeah, it will just print. Okay, so let's get over to what concerns us. So let me rename my index. So DF, I'm calling this now. DF, and the method rename. Since you're tired, you should stop rename. And should I put it index 0? Okay, so let me pick this, replace to 0. So 1, 2, 3. Let's see if it matches ABC 1, 2, 3. Okay. And replace to display this. And for clear visibility, I could print here before this prints DF. I could print here prints modify data frame. All right, let's see. I did this and nobody called my attention to it. Why is it having error? Whatever we have, you see it strings BRNC. Hope I did not use capital P. Okay, use capital P. All right, so in this example, I rename my indexes 0 and 1. Like instead for it to start with 0 to be A, and B1 is going to be B, and 2 is going to be C. So it will take this respectively. And once you call this in place is true, to just take the place of this. I print this out. Okay, so this, what I was trying to do here, just to set it aside, by default is taking this. Okay. And I think let me do this, print original data frame and print modified data frame. Beautiful. So let me run that again for you to see the difference. So this is original data frame, which take the default indexing, and this is the modified one. Okay, like this line. This is the modified one. Instead of using the default one, I set it to A, B, C, We'll set it to X, Y, C, anything, X, Y, Z, anything. Still work X, Y, Z. Am I still on the call? All right, beautiful. So any question? Okay, so in the absence of question, let's stop there. This is 5 minutes past 1. Since you already have material to read, you follow up from the NumPy, you have the recording to follow up, and this then I'll drop some resources for us. Any question again before we end? Okay, so I'll have to stop here for today and go again on Thursday.